So here's our mounting that we're going to prepare for polishing. This mounting has been prepared by removing the sprue gate, and we've done basically a rough filing to prepare the surface for sanding. The way that we're going to approach this is we're going to sand the inside and get the inside ready. Then we'll start working on the side of the shank, the outside of the shank, and then finally we'll end up with some silicone wheels to dress the head area. First thing we're going to do is address the inside. One of Stuller's products is BananaSandpaper. Inside sanding product is available, so we want to start, with something a little rougher, and then we have a little trick to show you to get a real fine surface for polishing. For your micromotor, once we power it up, we have a display here that gives us a speed setting. What you don't want is a real high value. We don't need it to spin that fast. So I would recommend start at 10 and see how that goes. You can always control, speed with your foot pedal if you need a slower speed, but your max power wouldn't exceed 10. If we go too fast, we could actually be dangerous and bend a shank on a wheel there, and that could get dangerous. But we'll start with a 400 grit BananaSandpaper on a micromotor, and we're going to start sanding the inside. .400 grit is working very well, so I don't need to drop back to a coarser grit. Again, the goal is to get this to a fine enough grit to go straight to a polishing operation. All right, that should do. If you do not have BananaSandpaper available, you can make your own. And what we're going to do is cut a little strip and put it in this mandrel and use that to finish out the inside. This is like a 400 grit paper here. And just cut you a strip. I'm going to mount this into our micromotor. So you slip the paper in, start your motor spinning. Now we're getting a finer finish on the inside with the sandpaper. Very important part of prepping a mounting and preparing it for polishing is using different abrasives. Sandpaper works really well. We have these pre-made sanding sticks, many different grit options from 120 all the way to 1,000. They have multiple layers, 5 layers on each side, so when you wear out one side, you can just pull that off and you get a fresh sandpaper. If you do not have these available, you can make your own. What you'll need is a wooden stick, which is available at Stuller, and a piece of sandpaper. Also, what you will need is something sharp to crease the paper as we're working it, and a stapler. Line the paper up on the stick. Pop that stapler, flip it over. We're going to use our sharp tool to create a bend point in that paper. We're going to keep doing that, rolling it, keeping it tight. You can go as many layers as you want. But here I'm going to give it a couple extra wipes. There's our homemade stick. So now we're going to move on to using our sandpaper to prep the sides of the shank. We'll start with a 320, and here's where we're going to lay that ring on the stick, and we're going to start working the side of the shank. A good trick here is that you never want to go at a flat surface with a round tool. Keeping flat to flat definitely will help you not get into trouble with ripples in the metal. Then you can start working the top of the shank. Here's where you want to kind of follow the contour of the ring. So I'm looking to make sure that all the major, metal issues, ripples, and conditions of the surface need to be smooth. So I'm looking to get very close to my target. Once that is complete, let's try an 800 grit here and see how that works. You can hear, that it's moving over the surface much better than it was before. Pretty much there. Next, we're going to move on to address the head area. All right, so the next thing we want to do is to start addressing our head area. What I'm going to use here is a silicone abrasive wheel. This is a knife edge, and I want to use a knife edge because I want to actually get into the head area all the way down to the crease of that head. What's considered, a high quality polish job is getting that metal all around where the gemstone is going to go nice and bright. You want a reflective surface there that'll highlight that gem rather than being a dull metal inside there. So this is a gray wheel which has a little bit more cut than my second stage. So what I'm trying to do is get in between up in here, get all the tool marks out of it. Just keep going to each flat area. And once you've gotten to all the flat areas, the hard to reach areas here, and then make a pass on the outside of the palm. Alright, so I've got pretty much all the surfaces touched, no tool marks. I could go straight to polish here, but let's go ahead and take it through another stage. So the gray is a little more cut, the blue is not. So what's good about this blue color, it's also will not damage sensitive components like gemstones. So we'll just do the same routine. So when we actually go in with a polishing wheel, it's not going to take much effort to get the shine in there, which is good because we can over polish it. Alright, things are looking pretty nice. I'm going to rubber wheel just a little bit where the head meets the shank. See it starting to come together. Alright, so we could certainly go straight into polish in this condition here.